Good evening. Welcome to the first Russ College and Ole Miss dual degree program open house. For our first-time visitors, welcome to the campus of Russ College. And for our returning guests, welcome back. And to all of our friends who are tuning in virtually, we look forward to welcoming each of you to the campus in person very soon. Many of you may be wondering how this partnership between Russ College and Ole Miss came about. Let's just say it took lots of conversations and months of planning by many of the panelists you will hear from today. After all the conversations, planning, and preparation, on June 1st, Ole Miss Chancellor Glenn Boyce and Russ College President Ivy Taylor celebrated the new partnership by officially signing a memorandum of understanding between the two institutions. Successful students who complete this program will have the unique opportunity to graduate with a degree in mathematics from Rust and an engineering degree from Ole Miss. 4 tracks are included in this partnership: biomedical engineering, civil engineering, computer engineering, and mechanical engineering. So essentially, students who decide to take this route will receive the best of both worlds. Before we introduce our panelists, let's take a moment to hear from Russ College President, the first woman to serve as president at Russ College, Dr. Ivy R. Taylor.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. Good afternoon, everyone. You've already been welcomed to Bearcat Country. I'll just extend my welcome as well, both for those that are here in person and for those that are participating via live stream and the internet. We just appreciate you taking the time to learn about this exciting opportunity at Russ College. As you may or may not know, I've been here at Russ College for a little longer than 1 year, and I'm extremely excited to lead this institution into the next chapter of its history. Russ College, of course, has a long track record of preparing leaders for careers and service in this community, throughout the state of Mississippi, and throughout the nation and the world. When I arrived here at Russ, I was very interested in expanding partnerships for the institution so that we can elevate the opportunities that we provide for our students. As a small liberal arts HBCU, there are many things that we do well, such as nurturing our students, providing opportunities for them to be leaders on our smaller campus and in the Holly Springs community, and also helping them to feel connected and confident. Since we're small, though, sometimes resources are limited in various areas, and that's why partnerships are so important. The partnership that we're discussing today can give students the best of both worlds: the chance to receive a college foundation and be nurtured at a small liberal arts HBCU, and the chance to explore and study at the state of Mississippi's flagship institution. I'm very grateful to Chancellor Glenn Boyce and his staff and faculty members that are here on the stage for their willingness to work with us on crafting this wonderful program. And I'd be remiss if I didn't also thank our Russ College faculty and staff who worked to organize this program. When we turn on the news each night, we see just how complex our world has become, and that no matter where we live, even in a small town, that we're touched by those things that go on that we see on the screen. The need for problem solvers and trained personnel who can develop methods, techniques, equipment, and processes to address these challenges will continue. And so through this partnership, we will ensure that an increasingly diverse group of scholars are prepared to help solve the world's challenges through their preparation as engineers. And I think we all have observed through whatever realm that we operate in that if we have diversity, more diverse talent, that we end up with a better product that ends up benefiting everyone. So the panel here will be able to speak more eloquently than I can on the world's challenges and how engineers help solve them. So I'm going to step aside in a moment and allow them to do so. But again, I want to thank each and every one of you for your participation, because I know your time is valuable, and thank you for your interest in Russ College. After today's program, I'll ask that everyone here please share the information that you learned today with people in your network so they can connect with the renaissance that's happening at Russ College right now. Thank you.
Thank you, President Taylor. Okay, so now, everyone, we are going to take a moment and allow each of these wonderful panelists to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about what they do at their institutions in which they serve, their name, and you can get to know them a little bit better. So we'll start with this lovely lady right here to my right.
Thank you, Tiffany, and I will be happy to introduce myself, and we save the best for last as it goes. So my name is Marnie Kendricks, and my title is Senior Assistant Dean for the School of Engineering. I have the privilege of working with our undergraduate students, and I absolutely love it. I'm just a little bit more a lifelong Mississippian, majority in North Mississippi, so when I tell you I'm truly a cheerleader about this program, I'm sincere in saying that. I love what we're doing. This is amazing. And I'm a civil engineer by training. I've taught high school math, so I connected with our math faculty here in the auditorium a little bit because that's the foundation, and that's where things begin. Good things start there. And I've had the privilege of being part of the university for a good long time, 17 years. So thrilled to be part of this in particular. We've been working on it for a couple of years now, so it's coming together.
Awesome. Thank you, Marnie.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dartell Treadwell, and I serve as the Vice President of Student Engagement here at Russ College. I have a number of things that kind of roll up to me that may not be interesting to you guys, but I'll just kind of go over some of them. Athletics, student success and persistence, our dining services, security here, so a number of things. But my involvement with this was early on with Ms. Perry and our president going down to Ole Miss and talking about how we could continue the partnership and push things forward. So we started working on the curriculum for these 4 degree programs. And Marnie and I, we sat down we stood at some whiteboards and sat down and worked it out from scratch, building our curriculum into there so that we can create this program. So I'm happy to be a part of it.
Howdy, Russ College Bearcats. I'm Dave Plao. I'm the Dean of the School of Engineering at Ole Miss. The end of next week will be the end of my 3rd year. I'm a biomedical engineer by training, and I'm really excited about this partnership. Biomedical engineering didn't really exist 50, 60 years ago, but people saw a need to bring different perspectives, different disciplines together to solve healthcare problems. And so I'm a huge believer, proponent, get on my soapboxes all the time. Short guys, we need to get on soapboxes. So I get on my soapbox and talk about collaboration and partnerships, and this is an example of that. Glad to be here.
Good afternoon, everyone. The name is Dr. Donald Cole, and I'm a professor of mathematics here at Russ College. In my former life, I spent 20 plus years at the University of Mississippi, where I retired and was in the math department there as well. And so a connection between the 2 schools, and I might be the only one up here that know a secret on just about everybody up here on stage. And so when I say jump, they really jump. While I'm at it, while I was at University of Mississippi for 20 plus years, I also had a colleague who was in engineering there, and I understand that he's in the audience. Tyler, would you raise your hand? Where are you? Okay, yeah, okay, that's well. Thank you so very much.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tony Avant, and I serve as director of the Career Center at the University of Mississippi, and I'm very happy to be here. I I'm celebrating my 20th year at the university in this capacity as director. And one thing you might be interested in knowing is that I actually earned my undergraduate degree in computer science. So I have great affinity for the School of Engineering and those who are interested in careers in technology. I found another way to use my passion about my field, and that is helping our students look for employment and prepare for their careers in the field of engineering and computer science, because I liaison with those groups as well on campus. So I'm a director and a practitioner. We are a comprehensive center on our campus, so we provide career education, career development for our students, and we also work on the employer services side. I'm very, very fortunate to know the great Miss Sandra Burke, who is my colleague here at the Russ College as director of the Career Center. So we spend some time chatting together quite often. So I'm looking forward to partnering with Ms. Burke and with the rest of your faculty and staff to make sure that we can help our students together network with key employers who are looking for great talent to hire after graduation. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Good evening. I may be the only person on the stage who cannot compute the distance from the Earth to the moon by hand. Rolundus Rice, Professor of History and the Vice President for Academic Affairs here at Russ College, and just happy to play a role with Dr. Taylor in reigniting this Rustian renaissance that I think is on the horizons here in Holly Springs. So thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Alan Dejock. I am the Assistant Dean of Recruiting, Admissions, and Enrollment at the University of Mississippi. I've been here for going on 2 years, and prior to that, before coming to the great state of Mississippi, I retired from the Navy. I was a Navy pilot for 22 years, and this is much easier, much better life, I will tell you that, than living in the Pentagon for 18 hours a day. I will take this anytime. So I am looking forward to working with Russ College and getting some of your great students through this program on campus Ole Miss, and anybody that's online. If you have any questions, please let us know, and we'll help you through it, help you through the process.
Awesome. Thank you, Al. Please give our panelists a hand, as we certainly appreciate each of them being here today. Before we get started, I just want to remind those watching virtually that if you have any questions throughout the discussion, so please drop your questions in the comment section. We will have a Q&A towards the end. And we'll also be sharing several links with you all, virtual viewers, where you can go to find more information, as well as to fill out our contact form, because of course we're interested in hearing from you and your interest in this program, and of course we want to be able to communicate with you all at the conclusion of this panel. So drop those questions in the chat, and of course we'll be in touch. So now let's jump right in. So Dean Palayo and Ms. Marnie, tell us how excited you all are about this partnership and really how it all came about.
Well, I will be glad to tell a quick story, because it's a great remember, for me to go back. I got a call from a baseball coach at Russ College, and he said, "Hey, we're looking at an architectural project. We want to try something new in our athletic facilities." And he said, "You want to come take a look?" And I was like, "I'd love to get out of the office. Let's do it." So I drove up and met this wonderful person for the first time, and we got to talking, and then all of a sudden he said, "Hang on, I got to take this call." So he stepped aside, and he listened to his phone for a minute, and he got really angry. And I said, "What's wrong?" And he said, "Trying to recruit this baseball player. He really wants to come here, but I'm up against another school that has an engineering program. And I think he's going to go to the other school." And I said, "Well, tell him we have an engineering program, and we're just down the road." And anyway, it turned out from that moment where we said, "You know what? We could do something like formally together." And we didn't get that baseball player, but we think we might be able to capture that spirit and really find a way to give students the best of both, opportunities.
Absolutely.
So anyway, it began casually over a discussion about architecture, but then it turned into something that really has substance here and sustainability.
Absolutely.
Just to tag on to that, echoing words that both Ms. Perry and Dr. Taylor said, it really is to really provide opportunities to diversify our workforce and really bring back to that point about collaboration in teams, bring people together of different perspectives, different backgrounds, different life experiences. That's how we're going to solve what are called the grand challenges of the 21st century. And it's these kinds of partnerships that really provide us the opportunity to build those teams and elevate our state, our region, the Mid-South, and nation, not to be too grandiose, but those are the kinds of challenges we face, and it's going to take an all-hands effort, as we've seen the craziness over the past few years, and it's going to get only worse. We can solve those, right? We're problem solvers.
Absolutely. And Dean Palayo, I want to kind of go off script a little bit because you mentioned, the importance of biomedical engineering, and right now in the middle of this pandemic, that's the reason why a lot of people have chosen to watch this event even virtually. So how critical do you believe an engineering degree, particularly biomedical engineering, is right now, and how instrumental do you think that will be in the years to come in really helping to solve our health crisis?
Critical, has been critical, what is critical, will be critical. Past, present, future. You talk about doctors, and no offense to any physicians in the room. I have one in my family. My son just graduated medical school this past summer. No offense, but the technology that physicians, dentists, and healthcare professionals use, much of that technology was developed by engineers, right? So you need the practitioners, but you also need to give them the tools to practice their profession. So I think biomedical engineering, I know biomedical engineering has been critical. Whether you've personally benefited, just from some sort of X-ray or MRI, a lot of engineering in that. The devices that will go in, a pacemaker or a hip implant, a knee implant, all those technologies engineers have had a role in and will continue as we live longer. We do silly things and hurt ourselves and need to be fixed. Those technologies are going to be increasingly important.
Absolutely, and I think that's so important for our students and our viewing audience to understand how these engineering degrees apply to real-life situations that we are currently dealing with. So thank you for that. Dr. Rice, our new VP of Academic Affairs. For private HBCUs, why do you think these types of partnerships and collaborations are important? And what does it mean in terms of really expanding our academic offerings here at Russ College?
Well, that's a very good question, Mrs. Perry, and I think that it is important for us to prepare our students to compete in a knowledge-based global economy. But collaboration is so important, and I'll tell you, and this is my one-up on my distinguished colleagues. They make it count, but I can read and analyze, in that while I'm not a mathematician, I understand the beauty of the relationships. October 19th, 1929, 5 days before the stock market crash, there was a meeting here on campus with 63 individuals, and it was an interracial meeting. And we know the themes here in Mississippi, so that in itself was an anomaly. But a part of that meeting was Chancellor of University of Mississippi, J.H. Hume. So this idea of braiding collaborations and partnerships, the University of Mississippi in 1929, meeting with Russ College with 63 individuals on this campus to discuss some of the same things in some respects that we are discussing now. What a phenomenal story, considering the themes and the narrative that has played out over the past 40 or 50 years. So if we are preparing students to leverage the resources, regardless of the institution, I think that we are enabling this generation to be what the generation was in the 50s and 60s when we were, engaging in the space race. So those types of competitive endeavors are still afoot, and it is incumbent upon us as Russ College and the University of Mississippi to combine resources, combine brilliance, and give our students what they need to compete in a very competitive workplace. So I think it is essential, and with the individuals on the stage, I'm certain that we will get a lot of mileage out of this for many, many years to come.
Absolutely.
You may not know that the chancellor that you referenced, Dr. Hume, was the namesake of our math building now, Hume Hall. So it was a prophetic meeting even then, right?
Absolutely.
To see what can be done over the next many generations. But yeah, awesome.
Great point, Marnie.
Awesome, awesome. Dr. Treadwell, who was very much so instrumental in kind of finalizing and putting the pen to paper on this partnership. 2 degrees in 5 years. That is an amazing opportunity for our prospective students. I will be honest, it took me 5 years to get 1 degree. So I'm excited about 2 in 5. But tell me a little bit about, for other minority first-generation students, which we know we have quite a few here at Russ, what student support systems are in place here on campus to be able to help them matriculate through this program?
That's a good question, Ms. Perry. Thank you. When I think about that, I think the first support system that our students have here is the family here at Russ College, our faculty and our staff. I think they do a wonderful job in providing kind of a wraparound service for our students in any major that they're going into. But specifically this major, it requires a little bit more gumption, if you will, and some get up and go and some determination to get through the curriculum. So there are a number of things here that I think are supportive for students who decide to come into this. And some of those things I think are our religious services here. I think there's a certain balance between spirituality, education, and work that that the students can take advantage of. Also, our just student activities being well-rounded, being able to do other things outside of academics. We also made sure we were very intentional in the beginning that our students had an opportunity to experience life at Ole Miss early on in this venture so that they can see what it was like on that campus, meet some of the professors and the students that are at Ole Miss so they can have that comfort level as they go into the major. Also other things like we have a student success and persistence program here that helps students with that are struggling in some areas, specifically mathematics. We have our academic skill specialists who can help students who may be having a little bit of time grasping some of the concepts to kind of help give them some support to push them through the program as well. Also career pathways, as we talked about earlier, giving them that support to know what the field is like that they're getting ready to go into and to be able to prepare and look at some of the areas and maybe get internships and things like that. So I think that we're prepared and we're in a good position to be able to support the students along with our partnership and our friends at Ole Miss to be able to give them the support they need to be successful to complete both degrees in 5 years.
Awesome. And Dr. Treadwell, you mentioned specifically the opportunity for students to jump right into this program and be able to experience life on both campuses. So I know there is a course that freshman students will have the opportunity to engage in as early as this fall, I believe, Engineering 196. So Marnie, talk to us a little bit about what that experience will look like for those students interested in moving forward with this program.
Sure. I'd be happy to share. This is a course that we have decided to offer immediately this semester for anyone, either an Ole Miss student or a Russ College student, that is considering this. I mean, it's a big commitment. It's a career. And so if you are interested in a 1-hour seminar course that meets on 7 very strategically placed Fridays through the semester. I'd like to say these 7 Fridays will change your life, but that's a little bit bold. But it is possible.
We can be bold, Marnie.
We can make claims and we can do our very best to deliver because I'm going to teach it. And it's going to be a very well-taught course to where we can share. And I think I've recruited a co-instructor to have a co-experience with 2 institutions. That would be Dartell Treadwell. And we're going to together deliver opportunities for you to explore engineering, see different engineering labs, solve some engineering problems, meet some engineering faculty, sit in on engineering panels with some alumni that are describing their careers, and really even a challenge course, a team building day when we actually put some engineering to practice. But it will be a good experience. And not only that, the gentleman on the end there, my assistant dean for scholarships and recruiting, is going to help make it possible to have full available scholarships for this semester. So we do have an opportunity, and we really genuinely want to extend the invitation for anyone that's interested. So it's not required as part of the program, but it would be. I think Dr. Rice said he would work it out to where it would become degree applicable in the reverse transfer to come back to Ole Miss, back to Rust with that transcript. But an actual course, 1 hour credit, being admitted to Ole Miss while also being enrolled at Rust as a full-time student, but for this early opportunity for Explore. Okay.
So 2 things I think are amazing about what you just said. One, students will have the opportunity to be enrolled full-time here at Rust,
Right.
while still taking part in this engineering introductory course. And scholarships will be available for them to do that. So that is very important, and I think amazing that you all have worked that out for our students to be provided that opportunity. The second thing, Dr. Treadwell, I do understand, because I know transportation back and forth for that course may also be considered a barrier, but you all are so great that you've taken care of that as well.
Yes, ma'am, we did. So when we started to imagine this course, that was something we talked about. Would students be driving? Would they be going back and forth? So, of course, I jumped right in and offered Russ stuff to be able to provide transportation for the students that want to take part in this course. We're very fortunate that we do have a fleet of vehicles here on campus, easily accessible. So the students that decide to take advantage of this course, we will provide transportation for them to go down to take the course. Once they finish, and we'll bring them back. So that won't be a barrier or an excuse. You say, well, I can't get there. Well, yes, you can, because we'll make sure that you can get there.
But we just need to make sure who's driving, because I've seen you and Dr. Rice drive, and you're kind of speed racers. So thank you for that, Dr. Treadwell, and that's great. And Dr. Rice and Dr. Cole, I do want to ask you a question specifically about students who we know sometimes may be a little hesitant about going into the mathematics or the engineering fields because they tend to be, kind of challenging, right? So tell us, what are some things that high school students, prospective students, can be doing now if they find interest in this program? What can they be doing now to prepare for the curriculum and for, the engineering or mathematics majors?
Well, I earned a 22 in math in high school, so I'm going to defer to Dr. Cole to answer that question.
Oh, thank you so much. I got a 23. And you're right. A lot of people are afraid initially, but let's also recognize that a lot aren't.
Dr. Cole, can you
Oh, I'm sorry. And one of the things that I like about teaching is the fact that I can demonstrate the fact that if I can, then anyone can. I'm a live role model, if you will. And I want to say, yes, it is difficult. But I also want to say that's what makes it worth it. And if you think about it, there's so much that is difficult in life. Students, you all might not know this, but along the way, your parents had a difficult time getting you up to where you are now. But they did. They met the challenge. So child raising is difficult. What else? You can mention a lot of stuff that is difficult, but the main thing is that it's doable. And that's what we want to get across to you all. Getting accepted to college was difficult. And some of you all know people who didn't even go through the same process you did. It's too difficult. Didn't even give it a try. But you did. And somehow you ended up in college. And did the same thing on exiting as well. And so most of the time, what you find out is that people will have some type of passion for whatever they do. And if you think that you have a passion for it, then work toward it. I can remember, believe it or not, 100 and so many years ago, that I was probably sitting in your shoes as well. And there's a couple of things that I look back at now that told me that, okay, yes, this is probably for you. I liked it, but I was not very, very good at it. But you know, one of the things that I did in the summer, I got and read a book in the summer. And I even ended up reading a math book in the summer. I can remember, excuse me, Tiffany, I got to tell this one. I can remember when it got so interesting that I would take my books and sit in the bathroom. So when I had to use the bathroom, I could even study and look at some of the stuff in my books. And so I was having a passion for it and did not really recognize it. And so, and so whatever you have a passion for, that's what you should go after, and that's what you should major in. If this is one of those things, then fear shouldn't stop you. All of us up here people gonna fear overcomers, and we're fear overcomer helpers as part of our work as well. Orlando, since he asked both of us, let me quote something and let you tell me what it means. So it says that no one has ever drowned who believed in God and who could swim. It has some relevance here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dr. Cole is a man who can correlate in any discipline and so profound. And when you think about students and what they're facing, I'm instantly drawn to Sister Act 2. Saying, Rice, why Sister Act 2? There's this scene with Whoopi Goldberg's character and Lauryn Hill's character. They are getting onto a bus, and Whoopi Goldberg says, Rita, if all you think about is singing, then you are supposed to sing. So it was a passion. And when you think about the swimming quote, there's another quote that I'm thinking about, Dr. Cole, and I believe it was Abraham Lincoln. And he said something along these lines. He said, if they see you walking on water, they'll only say he's walking on water because he can't swim. In other words, all of our intellectual odysseys will call on us to do very difficult things under very difficult circumstances, but only when you have climbed the highest mountain can you appreciate the valleys. And I think this degree program, will speak to that much larger effect.
That's great.
Can I add a quick
Absolutely.
extra? A lot of you are probably in the same exact seats that we were, a few years ago. And as a college student myself, flopping around between majors, I actually may be the only person in the room that's ever fainted at both the eye doctor and the chiropractor. I mean, that's my, I'm really, it's called Wasservogel. It's a weird thing. You pass out when you go visit somebody in the hospital. And I was actually a pre-med major. And I just started thinking, what is wrong with all of this? I can't make sense of it. I can't go into this direction. I can't figure this out. I don't know what I want to do with my life. I can't even, stand straight up when I go to the doctor anymore. I'm so weak. But so in my conversation with my family, I kept saying, I don't know what I want to major in. I can't find it. I can't figure it out. A friend of ours who happened to be the city engineer, he was in our house one day and he heard me kind of lamenting about, I'm just lost. And he said, you do pretty well in math. You like science, don't you? And I said, yeah, it's fine. And he said, why don't you study engineering? And I said, okay, that's a good idea. I had never thought about it before, never. And so I'm here to tell you, if you've never thought about something out of your normal comfort zone, that simple suggestion, I mean, Dr. Rice can quote really amazing philosophers and historians, but I simply quote my friend that I knew in 1988 who said, why don't you study engineering? You're pretty good at math. And that made the difference for me, a simple suggestion. And I said, okay, I'll take one math class and see how it goes. And then another. And so it's just something sometimes you just need to hear a suggestion. Consider it.
Absolutely. And I think it's very important, too, that we talked about passion. And Dr. Cole, you have to be a very passionate man to take those books in the restroom
I'm telling you.
and read what you were in the restroom. Okay, so a little bit more about just going into how this dual degree program is structured. 3 years will take place here at Russ College, and 2 years will take place at Ole Miss. So during those first 3 years, students will have the opportunity to earn a Bachelor of Science degree in mathematics. So Dr. Cole, Dr. Rice, some people are probably wondering, what can I do with a bachelor degree in mathematics? What are some of the career fields and opportunities for students who go that route?
Mind if I start on this one, because I am a mathematician, and I don't know anything better than to use myself as an example. That when I graduated with my degree in mathematics, I went to work in the aerospace industry. And I went to work, and I forgot what my title was. I was a mathematician 1 or something like that. And a year later, I was an operational analyst. And after a few years, my title was senior engineer. And what was happening was that I was grouped with a lot of other people, and I was learning their trade, their engineering trade. They were learning my math trade. So when it came time for me to lead off in mathematics, so if it was an engineer who was working on something and trying to code something, well, that code probably was going to involve some mathematics, and he was going to ask me, etc. And so what it turns out is that I eventually got where I was going out hiring people, and so I ended up just trying to hire smart people. And when you do that, they might have a title of mathematician. They might have a title of engineer. They might have a title of chemist or something else. But that's what I tried to hire. And what you'll find out that companies have a lot of what they call trade secrets. And their trade secrets many times are written in the language of mathematics, the queen of all sciences. And they're in the process, they get these smart people to come in, and they teach them that trade. And so if they're already smart, they're going to pick up that trade, fairly quickly. Somewhere along the way, believe it or not, I needed to be able to write well. And so that's where my undergraduate came in so important. I didn't think English was going to come in just as important. But it's all type of words that's out there. So you hear the word accounting. Well, my goodness, that could very well be a mathematician. That could very well be someone who graduated with engineering degree. And different companies are going to have different titles associated with them. Actuary. And so in the insurance industry. So that person might very well be a mathematician. That person might very well be an engineer. One thing's for sure, they're going to be smart. And so if you have some of that, and smart, it's a little different for brilliant. Smart means your work habits. Because again, I set the example. I'm not very smart, but not many people are going to outwork me either. And so that's where my smartness, if you will, sort of comes in. So it's going to be all type of titles out there. And afterwards, catch me. As a matter of fact, I got a whole list that I brought with me, a good type of titles that people use whose degree is in mathematics or engineering. Thank you so much.
Well, Dr. Cole, again, it's always difficult to follow him, but he said something that I have to comment on. He said that mathematics is the queen of all sciences. But Euclid, Pythagoras, and Archimedes, they had to write it down. So there was a humanities component to it as well. But certainly, Dr. Cole and everyone, with the math degree, Dr. Cole can articulate this far better than I ever could. But mathematics, it opens you up to a world that is foreign and unknown to so many because of its difficulty. And I'll tell you, as a father, as a professor of history, I wasn't good in math. I mean, I dropped out of high school, so I can't speak too much about high school students. However, I love watching Hidden Figures with my daughters. And what a profound narrative in that story. Hidden Figures in a literal sense and also theoretically, but also how mathematics enabled a country to compete. And it's a matter of national security. And I'll allow you to speak about that with your time in the Pentagon, certainly 18 hours a day. But mathematics is the foundation, and we used this term yesterday, Dr. Cole, the irreducible common denominator. It is an irreducible common denominator for so many life equations and other challenges. So I challenge you all to confer with Dr. Cole and these other brilliant mathematicians on the stage for career options, because they can share that far better than I ever could, but they do have to write it down. Then you come to see me.
That was great, Dr. Rice. And I do want to encourage everyone who's watching in the audience as well as viewing online. If you visit engineering.olemiss.edu, you can learn a ton about the various different engineering tracks. They have great descriptions on their website if you all are still a little bit unsure about the different options within engineering. I encourage you all to visit engineering.olemiss.edu to take a look at those descriptions. But Dr. Rice, you did mention Hidden Figures. And we know that a lot of people consider mathematics and engineering a male-dominated type of industry, but some of the most notable mathematicians in our history were Black women. Particularly one of my favorites, Katherine Johnson, who we know was the main character in the movie Hidden Figures. She had a successful career with NASA and earned a reputation for really solving complex calculations. Another was Mae Jemison, who became the first African-American woman to visit space when she went into orbit aboard NASA's Space Shuttle Endeavour. So talk to me a little bit about what trends, or talk to the audience a little bit about what trends are you all currently seeing with females and women and minorities in mathematics and engineering?
And you get to that in just 1 second, but I'm reminded of something, is that I mentioned that I started off in engineering with the aerospace company, and then I transitioned back into academia. And my transition happened to have been at Florida A&M University. And it was a female who gave me my job there. We had gone to school together. And right now, in many of my math classes, I end up with more females in there than I do with males. That wasn't the case years ago. And the field is, now opening and companies are just, they're going out of their way to hire individuals. And when you're a double minority, when you're African American, then African American to female, etc., then you have a leg up. And I just wanted to make that comment as well. Thank you for reminding me.
Well, Ms. Perry, I think a very good point. And I'll chime in a little bit about, you mentioned NASA. While I can't go into all of the details, I'm happy to share that through President Taylor's leadership, we're having some serious conversations with NASA in Huntsville next week as a byproduct of the conversations that started with this degree program. So again, endless opportunities. But when it does, you talk about, women and math, I'll tell you, I don't open my checking account at home. I don't know who spends what. I just know that Mrs. Rice manages the Rice Enterprise and our finances. So that's all I have to contribute in that regard.
So we know Mrs. Rice is the mathematician in your house.
Without a doubt.
Awesome. And so we talked a little bit about companies that are recruiting and hiring, looking for double minorities, mathematicians and engineers. And this is for anyone at this point. What companies are recruiting students from your institution with engineering and mathematics degrees? What partnerships are you all currently working with to really help with recruiting students after graduation?
Can I answer?
Absolutely.
Okay. I will also tell you, in relation to the question that was just asked, I'm a doctorate student in the higher education program at the university, and my study is focusing on African American women in the computing sciences. So I've been doing a little research about all of that, and I'll just share with you that, yes, there's a great need for women in the profession, and there are a number of companies who are actually working towards building up opportunities for students even in as early as the K-12 program. So if there are seniors or juniors that are listening to this live stream today, you know, I would encourage you to consider getting involved in some of the programs that many of these companies are offering. I'll give you an example. C-Spire, who is homegrown here in the state of Mississippi, has a number of they offer a number of programs throughout the year. Now, it may have slowed down a little bit because of the pandemic, but they've been working with students to have them come and participate in competitions. And so they bring in these teams that they have coding challenges and all these other kinds of activities, and they're working alongside of the C-Spire staff members. Their vice president for information technology, who's the lead technology person or on staff in their company, is a woman. And so, you know, these are exciting times. Google does a lot of work with trying to promote engineering and computer science opportunities for students as well, and women in particular. So if you ask me who's coming to recruit, I'll tell you that we have a database similar to what Ms. Burke is using in her career center called Handshake, and there are over 1,100 companies within the engineering and computing science industries that we're connected to at the university. And I can't even calculate for you the number of job opportunities that are available within those 1,100 companies, but they're recruiting. But just to give you some examples of some of the organizations that connect with our career center and who are participating in our career fairs include companies like Amazon, International Paper, the Alliant Group. They're out of Houston, Texas, the Department of Defense, and believe it or not, the FBI comes and recruits special agents with math backgrounds and engineering backgrounds to come and work for them. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, AT&T, I can just go on and on. CoreLogic, they're based out of Texas, but they have an office and an operation right in Oxford, and they recruit a number of interns and students for full-time employment. So the opportunities are abundant. I think the projected career path or growth for career paths in engineering and computer science are somewhere between 8 and 18%. So they're the fastest growing careers and the ones that are in the greatest need. So if you decide to pursue your major in the 3-2 program, I think I know that you won't have any trouble getting a career afterwards, because Ms. Burke and I are going to make sure that we get you prepared and ready to interview and to go on and move forward working with those organizations. So those are just a few to name. So.
And Tiffany, while I'm at it, I think the better question to ask, who is it that's not recruiting some of these things? Exactly. And by the way, the National Security Agency is probably the biggest employer of mathematicians, period.
Awesome. Awesome. And Ms. Burke, she's our Director of Career Pathways. raise your hand so everyone knows who you are. We keep mentioning your name, Ms. Burke, so I want everyone to say hi to Ms. Burke. And so, Tony, you mentioned engaging with these employers. I understand that Ole Miss has an exciting opportunity in September coming up with a career fair. Tell us a little bit about that career fair.
Yes, please send positive vibes our way that we can continue to move forward with our in-person activities. Last year we had to move to a virtual capacity to host our career events, but on September 21st, we are going to host an in-person engineering, manufacturing, and technology career expo in partnership with our good friends in the School of Engineering. So we are anticipating, right now, we're still collecting registrations as we speak. So we're up to about 30 employers because some of our employers are still a little bit ambiguous about travel and moving outside, coming back to things in person, to activities in person.
Right.
But we do have 30 who have signed up. It's on the 21st from 10 until 2. And all of the Bearcats are invited to join us for that event. We'd like to see you there. It'll be an opportunity for you to begin to network and build your social capital with these employers that are coming to visit, because that's important. Mm-hmm. Come and introduce yourself. Absolutely. Start asking questions about opportunities. Do your research ahead of time, and after this event, we do have a table set up, so I have some information that I'll share with you, and we can get you linked up into our handshake system as well as the one here at Russ College. So you're going to get a double dose of career services, and I told Dr. Treadwell that you just cannot prepare enough. And so we want to make sure that you have access to the events that are being held in person on our campus, as well as some of the virtual events that employers are offering to students who are not traveling. Mm-hmm. And a number of them are also in engineering and computing science fields, and that are recruiting mathematics majors as well. So please come if you can. We would love to host you there. Mm-hmm.
We would also like to invite you to stay for a 2 o'clock reception at the conclusion of the career fair. So these companies have come and paid their money to have the privilege of meeting you. So they are setting up their tents and their, their booths to talk to prospective students who will be graduating over the next few years, hiring interns and permanent. So it's a perfect opportunity to come and see what kind of companies might you want to go to work for one day. And not only that, while you're on the campus, stay for another hour and meet some faculty, staff, dean's office that we'd like to host for those of you that would like to consider the 3-2 partnership, another opportunity to engage.
Awesome. Dr. Rice?
Tony mentioned social capital. And what we're realizing is that many of our students, first-gen students, don't have that, what one sociologist called that invisible knapsack. Mm-hmm. That's this network of people. Absolutely. And contacts that by virtue of being born to certain families, first-gen students just do not have.
Absolutely.
So what we're thinking about, and I have to run it through the academic council, is having a 1-hour credit course for every senior. They will have to take this 1-hour credit course that talks about preparation for graduate school. Mm-hmm. And if Dr. Taylor approves me to teach this course, I would like to teach it in this room. So every single student will, and it won't have anything to do with subject matter. It will discuss, okay, who do I go to on campus? What is the art of networking? Business cards, these things that will supplement what the Career Service Center already does, but building networks, finding scholarships, connecting with the right people in your community, these unwritten rules mm-hmm. that people just know if you're born into, by circumstance, a certain family. Yes. So these are the things that we're thinking about incorporating here just for preparation for graduate and professional school.
Absolutely, and I think that's very important for our current students and prospective students to understand. What you know is important, but sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. So that's a very interesting class, Dr. Rice. I think I may come sit in on that. Sounds fun. We will take one or two more questions for our panelists, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So everyone be getting your questions prepared as we get ready for that portion of this discussion. So, Dr. Rice, if I am a current student at Rust and I decide, you know what, this engineering thing sounds like this is something I can absolutely do. What steps should I take so that I can ensure that this is the path that I move forward with?
So this is the professor in me. Talk to the professors.
Mm-hmm.
The professors can give you insight, or what I call for this stage, intel, on what you should do and how you can best prepare, because there are certain courses that you would need to be thinking about, need to be registering for, and there's a particular degree plan. We're no longer calling it a need sheet. It is a degree plan that you all need to be aware of. So I would ask you to speak certainly with Dr. Cole, Dr. Doris Ward. If she is not here, I will certainly acknowledge her. But Dr. Ward and other math faculty, Ms. Shatara Hall is also in the building, one of our newer team members who serves in a dual capacity. So it helps to speak to the people who will be teaching you, and building that rapport from the very beginning will ensure that when you encounter those very difficult times in these courses, you have the relationship already. So I would certainly start by speaking with the professors.
Okay.
Dr.
Thank
Cole?
you.
And Shatara, are you, where is Miss Hall? Can you just stand up and wave your hand so everyone knows who you are? Many of our students in the building, thank you. Thank you.
Can we point out the sheets available here too?
Yes, we will. And we'll do one more question. And this question is for Mr. Al down on the end, who has been so patiently waiting. So aside from, of course, the demonstrated academic success, we understand that for this program, students have to be admitted into both Rust and Ole Miss. Talk to us a little bit about what are the requirements for admission into Ole Miss and into the College of Engineering?
All right. Thank you, Ms. Tiffany.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me just be very clear. For students that take on this program and successfully complete it, you will be admitted into Ole Miss in one of those engineering programs. There is no doubt that the faculty here at Rust College is going to get you prepared for the Ole Miss piece of this program. So I want to be very clear that you successfully complete the Rust College program, you will be admitted into the Ole Miss part. Okay? For those students that are maybe online thinking about coming to Ole Miss, I really invite everyone really to come and visit. Whether it's might not know what engineering program you're interested in. I get questions every day from students that they kind of want to be an engineer, but they just don't know what it is. Come and visit. You can book a visit. It's very easy. Go to our website at Ole Miss Engineering or OleMissEngineering.com. There's a book a visit, and just say, hey, I want to come and visit. You'll come and see me. We'll do a tour. We'll meet some faculty. One of our great faculty, Dr. Tyrus, is in the front from mechanical engineering. He sees our students all the time. So that's one of the biggest things is just come to visit. Okay, but I want any student be rest assured that you complete that program. We will welcome you with open arms here to Ole Miss. And I want to kind of just twist it real quick I see a lot of students out there. By raise of hands from the students, who's interested in this program? Okay, great. So I just got two words for you. Do it. Okay? There should be nothing holding you back. This is a win-win-win. Right? This is a win for you, a win for Rust College, and a win for Ole Miss. Okay? Don't let fear, inhibitions, it's too hard. I'll tell you a quick story if I may. I had a young man, February of 2019, from Jackson, Mississippi. He went to Holmes Community College, and we had a little event up at Ole Miss right before the quarantine, or right before the pandemic, I'm sorry. And he was walking by a table I was at, and I just grabbed him. I said, hey, tell me what your name is. And he told me his name and told him what engineering. He goes, there's no way I could do this. I said, Jonathan, yes, you can. He goes, no, I could never come to an SEC school. I could never do engineering. I'm just going to go to another school down in Jackson, which is totally great. But his passion was he wanted to be a mechanical engineer. And I said, don't let fear, don't let money, don't let any of this hold you back. We worked through it. We got him scholarships. He successfully graduated from Holmes with his associates. He is now in his second year at Ole Miss as a mechanical engineering student, and he is doing fantastic. Okay, but if he would have let fear or I can't do this, he would not be where he is right now. And he's doing a great job. So I just put it out to the students. If you're thinking about it, do it. You can't go wrong, right? You might an extra year of school, right? Miss Tiffany, I might have beat you by about 6 months on how long it took me to get my degree. But right, your life is this long. This is it's a sliver, okay? And my dad, one time, when I was did I want to be a Navy pilot or not? It's too tough. There's no way I'm going to be able to do this. He goes, son, work hard now and you can play later.
Awesome.
Or do you play now and you're going to work hard later for the rest of your life? And I worked hard that little bit, and now look at me. I get to play. Now, I retired at 45 years old, and now I get to play up here at Ole Miss and be with you guys. But again, do not let fear or whatever it is hold you back. We are here to help you succeed. I promise you that. It might not seem it in your middle of midterms or whatever it is. We are here. I promise you, we are here to see you succeed, and we will see you through it.
Awesome.
Mrs. Perry.
Yes, sir.
On the stage, everyone is talking about math and counting. And one of the most critical components, nobody's talked about counting money. Can we speak to what those salaries could look like for certain students? I think we want them to walk across the stage, certainly with a degree in one hand, and Dave from Ole Miss, a job offer in the other. So what can our students think about when we're talking about possible salaries with people with these types of these backgrounds?
We'll both do it. It ranges. It depends on what degree program you choose, but it ranges anywhere from 65 to the six figures. So it just depends on how great the need is for a particular field. But Dean Paleo may be able to speak a little bit more to what our engineering graduates are earning coming out of their bachelor's program, master's programs.
No, that's pretty accurate. Key thing is there's a lot of it depends. I've driven students nuts for 30 years and counting by my answer often being it depends. Depends on what your major is, what kind of job. Is it private sector? Are you going to industry? Are you going public service? And we have a lot of our civil and engineers who work for the state, whether it's the Mississippi Department of Transportation, subdivisions within their environmental quality. So it can be from that $50,000, $60,000 to we've had students leave with a bachelor's degree at six-figure salaries. Truly. That's not the common salary of our bachelor's graduates, but that's where finding your passion matters. Do I want to work for the state and make our infrastructure better? Do I want to work for a petrochemical company, which is increasingly interesting, but do I want to work for a big petrochemical company and have a big salary? So finding your passion, where do you see yourself working for 40 or 50 years to really better this country? But definitely a range, but it pays off. So I often talk about that personal benefit, financial, but also personal reward, but then the societal give back of what we do in solving problems. And I don't mean to be negative about petrochemical, because even you put gasoline to the side, the polymers, you can't sit on that chair without petrochemical, because the polymers come from those materials. So it is critical to life. Engineers, mathematicians. Math is and I haven't heard that queen of the sciences, but that is the first tool in the engineer's toolbox. So that's why that 3+2, that first tool, that pivotal tool, is math that goes into the engineer's toolbox. And then whether you're a mechanical, a computer, we put other tools in there to help you solve those problems. But find that passion, depending on what that company is, you'll walk away with, it's a huge return on investment. Even taking on a little bit of loans, national data, and then we can go to individual universities and programs within universities. Even taking on a little bit of loans, we do work hard, as Al said. He and Megan Miller, who couldn't be here because she's more than 9 months pregnant and due momentarily, they work hard with our scholarship committee to squeeze every little penny that we can. And we work for additional scholarships, transfer scholarships, to be able to support these kinds of programs. But even taking on a little bit of debt, the return on investment, really good articles published recently, from an engineering perspective, it's close to 100% return on investment, meaning paid off within 1 to 5 years.
Oh, awesome.
And you don't see that for many other disciplines. But first and foremost, find your passion. Where do you want to make your contribution when you leave this world?
That's awesome. Yes, Al?
Yeah, Ms. Tiffany, thank you. I just want to piggyback real quick. And this is just one of the many stories that we have at Ole Miss from engineering students. We had a young lady that went, and she's working right now at SpaceX. So she did a co-op, and I'm sure we haven't even talked about co-ops, so that could open a whole nother hours of discussion. And I'm sure instead of 5 years, we could probably extend it to 6. But you do a co-op maybe between those 2 years you're with us. But we had a young lady that did a co-op with SpaceX, and they pretty much hired her on the spot to the point where she didn't even have a degree yet, and she was working out in SpaceX, and she was remoting in to Ole Miss to finish her degree, and then she came back and walked across the stage during graduation. But I mean, I don't even
That
want
was after her Tesla internship, I think.
An international paper before
Yeah,
that.
an international paper. Yeah. So I don't even want to think about what she's making over there. And but it's just one of the many stories that we have. So yeah, it's a great.
Awesome.
It's whether it's automotive or aviation or whatever, petroleum or pharmaceuticals, whatever it is, there's an engineer touch on pretty much everything we have.
And I think what's important for everyone to take from this is that the opportunities are endless with this dual degree program. And I would encourage all of our current students, as well as our prospective students, to take advantage of this very unique opportunity to earn 2 degrees from 2 of the most prestigious institutions in the state of Mississippi in 5 years, one of which is the oldest historically black college and university in the state, while the other is the first school of engineering, correct?
The oldest.
The oldest in the state of Mississippi.
And the best engineering school.
And the best, of course.
Much better than the one below us.
Got it. Okay, so we're going to open it up for Q&A. We've been receiving some questions virtually in the chat, which I will address. But if anyone has any questions, feel free to walk up to the microphones here in the aisles. Mr. Kendrick will assist you there as well. But while we're waiting on any in-person questions, we'll jump right into a few that we've received already. Oh, there you go. Yes,
Hello.
ma'am.
Testing again. Got to stay ready. Okay. Greetings all. I'm Cassandra Doe, Senior Class President, and I have a question for anybody that can answer on the stage. So is this program solely mathematics to engineering, or could you be like computer science or biology, or is it strictly mathematics?
Well, Dartel and I worked on this in the beginning, and we tried to create the most efficient plan because 2 degrees in 5 years is pretty outrageous, but it is possible. And by following the very carefully scripted curriculum, it can be done. We found that working with mathematics first and these 4 specific degree programs was our best playbook, you know. So it is possible to do another configuration, yes. But that's what we had first said, let's publish this. We know this can work. You know, we mapped out 10 semesters, a summer internship, and summer commitments even during Rust college enrollment to make it work, to fulfill both degrees. But yes, don't think that it's closed to other possibilities.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question.
I want to go to a virtual question really quickly, and then we'll take yours. One of the questions that I know a lot of our parents and our viewers and our counselors who are watching this may be wondering is, how will a student's financial aid, work study, and or scholarships be impacted if they're a student here at Rust, if they're on an academic scholarship, if they receive work study? How will those things transfer from one institution to another?
I'll address it real quickly. I think I've already addressed that in the frequently asked questions sheet. Although we do not have a financial aid expert on the stage, unfortunately, we didn't think about including that person. But I can tell you from experience that financial aid, federal financial aid, is available if enrolled here, the same at Ole Miss. Okay, so that's for sure. Financial aid through federal is good for 6 years. So even if it took a little bit longer than the 5-year plan, it's still available to that student who's qualified. Scholarships that are available through Rust are pretty much limited to Rust. However, scholarships offered through Ole Miss are available too. So we have an application process. We have a lot of merit-based scholarships that we would like to absolutely make available through an application process. But there are a lot of different ways to finance college. And of course, the most convenient, if anyone is thinking of continuing on in the same way through federal financial aid, perfect. But some people use co-op to help pay for their school. Some people work and alternate school and work. So it is, or rather, one semester on and off. There's a lot of different ways that we could help. But it is also available to have a more personal, conversation to be sure we get that exact correct information before anyone makes a plan. And it would also be worthwhile to point out what Dean Palaio said was that the return on investment for an engineering education is the highest among any bachelor's degree available at any college campus. CNN publishes a report every year that says what is the most lucrative 4-year bachelor degree available, because you can't compare to graduate degrees, law school, medical school, 5-year programs and more. Mm-hmm. But for 4-year programs, it's been top 10 every year is engineering. Awesome. So it is a legitimate question, and we don't want to discount it, but it does take some time to plan it carefully.
Okay.
Is there anything to add?
Yeah, and it does help for students. We see in some respects, students may matriculate, get to the end of their degree program and run out of money. Yeah. That happens if you have a certain amount of withdrawals on your transcripts, D's and F's, courses that financial aid does not pay for. So the most efficient way is to, from the very beginning, start with the end in mind. And then by the time you make it to your senior year, you will still have money remaining, because I believe that a student is entitled to 150% of Pell, I believe, for up to 6 years. Mm-hmm. So the key is just, again, keep the W's, the withdrawals, to a minimum, so you don't have to take retake courses, and in those major courses, at least earn the C or better. Mm-hmm. That way you are setting yourself up to have more money toward the end of your intellectual odyssey at Ole Miss.
Absolutely. And we'll take the question from the gentleman in the audience, but I do want to encourage you all, if you have additional questions about admissions to Rust financial aid, we have an awesome new Vice President of Enrollment Management, Dr. Jason Johnson, who is traveling today. But feel free to contact him via email. He can be reached at jkjohnson@rustcollege.edu. J as in Jack, K as in King, Johnson @rustcollege.edu. Next question.
Yeah, good evening. I'm Dr. Linwood Fields. I have the company Think Green Education and Tutoring. So I'm here to offer my services, and I want to partner with either or both schools to offer my services as a mentor and a tutorer, because this is an African American school, obviously, And sometimes the African Americans need, somebody that kind of look like them to kind of get them over those tough times. But again, think green, education and tutoring. Okay, so my question centers around the transition from the 3 years of math to the 2 years of engineering. And I just learned of this program yesterday on my way to the gym on station 88, FM station 88.
88.5 on the
Memphis,
interview?
Tennessee.
Yes.
But I haven't had enough time to investigate what the course load looks like. And in particular, I'm sorry for getting here a little bit late. If somebody can point me to what the course load looks like, I can look it up online myself. But if not, it's that transition period that I'm more worried about.
Yes, sir.
And in particular, when would they get the course called Introduction to Engineering? Because for myself, I'm an electrical engineer, and I was actually working as an engineer before I could articulate what an engineer does. So it's very important because I can see where if you start out in a math major and you're not sure which particular branch of engineering you want to focus in, you may end up taking some extra courses or maybe have to backtrack and change the particular field you're interested in if you're not more sure than I was of what an engineer does in the particular field that you want to go into.
Absolutely.
So that's very important. That transition is what we probably need to put some attention on.
That's great. What was your discipline of engineering again?
I have a bachelor's in electrical engineering.
Okay, fantastic. That's great. In fact, it's a good time to introduce, we have tables behind us with the curriculum sheets ready. Campus cookout. We want to do plenty of things to interact during the 3 years. What is your additional?
Yeah, sorry to come back again, but yeah, so in a lot of cases, it's obvious if you're going to be in civil, electrical, mechanical, but a lot of times our students, they have a particular hobby or they have an interest that's not clear in terms of what area that they'll be working in because there's a lot of overlap in today's world.
Yes.
So you may be interested in say, renewable energy. So do I want to work on the electricity side or do I want to work on the mechanical side? So a lot of times it becomes obscure when there's a lot of overlap in the area that you want to go into.
Okay.
You decide to pursue I did tell you that we're a comprehensive career center, so that's one of the things that we do with our students in terms of helping them explore what kinds of career fields might be a good match based on their interests. So we received a gift from our Family Leadership Council, and now we're able to offer an assessment to prospective students and our currently enrolled students called the Super Strong Interest Inventory. So the great thing about the Super Strong Interest Inventory, and if any of you are interested in that, I can show you how to get to that on our Career Center website, and you can just go in and take the assessment. And what it will do is it'll look at your interests. It will suggest occupations that might be a good fit based on those interests. And in addition to that, it'll map you to the academic majors on our campus. So if you're interested in renewable energy or whatever that may be, it'll take those interests and then it'll wrap it around the academic majors, which will lead you to, hopefully, to the majors in the School of Engineering, the ones that they've mentioned. So I think we can probably help students with that transition process, and they can start doing that now. They don't have to wait until they get ready to transition. They can do that in their first year, and we're happy to share that information with the Russ College students.
Al?
And then I would just invite you to Ole Miss. What better way to kind of figure this out than sitting in on a class, talking to faculty members, talk to our chairs, come to our tailgates. Everyone loves Ole Miss football in here, right? Yeah? All right. We're going to have tailgates, knock on wood, back this year, where we're going to have faculty and alumni, and you can come see our ambassadors. So, that's one of the best ways, I think, is to kind of figure it out, is come to us. And I will make sure that you, if you're interested in mechanical or whatever it is, we will make sure that every student is given the red carpet treatment, and we'll give you a T-shirt and a whole bunch of other swag. But yeah, that's the best way to kind of figure it out, is come and visit us and sit in on a class and talk to a faculty and chair.
Awesome.
And Al will be your host for the day. So if you go to our website, Current Students, and click on Book a Visit, you can even indicate, I'm interested in biomedical and chemical and civil, and you list everything that you think you might have interest in, and he will make sure you're introduced to people properly in all the different areas. So it really is. We are so pleased to have people come and at least just explore and ask questions. And your tutoring services are also very, very appreciated that you just discussed. Think green. All right. Thank you.
And that Ole Miss website again, Marnie, you want to share?
Yes. The website to book a visit is found under, Al, help me, olemessengineering.edu, and then current students.
Yeah, well, it's just on the on the homepage.
On the
You'll see
homepage.
it.
Okay.
It's very easy. It's just book a visit.
Book a visit. That's
And it'll take you right to a website, and you just enter the information that comes to me, and we'll get it figured out.
Okay, thank you.
Engineering.olemiss.edu.
Okay.
I haven't gotten it right
And
yet.
we're going to take one more question from the audience because, of course, I want to be respectful of everyone's time. At the conclusion of the event, we have tables set up where you all can come and learn more about the individual programs and the different engineering tracks that are available through this partnership. We'll also make those documents available online for our virtual viewers. So look out for that information to be posted on russcollege.edu or the Ole Miss website. So this is our final question from the audience. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Hello, Dr. Shanta D. Chapman here, Assistant Professor of Chemistry here at Russ College. I just had two questions, if I could just squeeze them in really quickly. Specifically for students that are current math majors here, I know they may be towards the end of their matriculation here at Russ, but what kind of opportunities could they glean from the partnership with Ole Miss as far as like internships or any kind of co-ops or anything of that nature for those current math majors? And my second and final question is, as far as academic advisement is concerned, how do you guys propose going about the academic advisement as it relates to here at Russ and when they transition to Ole Miss? Will they be assigned specific people that will be able to help them, like I said, in their journey at Ole Miss?
Great questions. Thank you, Dr. Chapman.
Excellent. So current math students who you may feel like are too late to get in on the program, is that what you were implying? Okay. That really are going to go ahead and finish their math degree and then pursue career options. I would say as Tony Avant has already extended the invitation, we would love to have Bearcats come to the career fair, even our engineering STEM. We have a combined, we call it engineering, manufacturing, technology career fair. Come check it out and see what kind of companies might be there that would be of interest. And if there's interest piqued in continuing this program to transfer even a completed degree into a second bachelor's degree, we would be glad to have that conversation. If someone says, you know, I'd like to do just what we've been talking about, you know, it just wasn't available when they were a freshman. So we would love to consider that conversation. It doesn't necessarily require that you do this in 3+2. You can do it in 4+2 if you like. But anyway.
And an interjection would be graduate degree in engineering.
That's true.
It is not uncommon, double negative, it is not uncommon that math majors and some physics majors will be accepted into an engineering program for graduate school, because math is the key tool, and in physics there's a lot of computation on that side of things. So they have a key tool. There may be a couple other courses, a few other courses needed to solidify that foundation, so that when we give that engineering degree, that diploma at some point, it'll be earned as an engineer. So that is an option as well.
The advising piece, let's address both questions real quick. In the once admitted to the School of Engineering at Ole Miss, each student is assigned a faculty advisor. So semester by semester, the advisor, you know, helps them make sure that they're taking the right courses and planning schedules to get to the finish line. But we would be available. I think Al and I both would say anytime someone in the current 3 part of the 3+2 would want to confer on advising. You know, we have a recommended curriculum sheet, but we would also be glad to talk about, I mean, not everybody can go straight through, you know, the exact plan. It's rare, you know. So having more personal conversations about what do we do about rerouting this or changing that, you know, we would be available at any time to do advising assistance.
No, for the math part, before Dr. Rice got here, our academic advisors were in early on with this as we developed the program and the curriculum and the mapping that we put together. But now that Dr. Rice is here, I think that Ms. Terry Jo Banks, who's our over academic advising, will work closely with Dr. Rice and the math department to ensure that those students that are in the math portion of it are, I mean, it's kind of right there looking at you. You just really just go down the sheet and take the classes. But to ensure that they're in those classes, if they have a hiccup along the way and have to do something different. So we did kind of look at that on the front end, but now that Dr. Rice is here, we'll make sure that those 2 pieces come together.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we have come to the end of our time today, and we certainly are glad that each of you could be here with us to share this exciting news about this dual degree program. I want to thank each of today's panelists for being present, so please give them a round of applause for their time. I also want to thank the many Rusk College teammates that helped to execute today's events, our physical plant team, marketing and PR, student activities, the broadcast operations team, and the many faculty and staff that played a major role in making today's event a success. Remember to complete the contact form and RSVP form. For those of you in the audience, you should have received access to a QR code when you came in. So make sure you fill out that information so that we can continue to communicate with each of you about this exciting new opportunity. For those of you viewing virtually, the link should have been placed in the chat. So there are so many exciting things on the horizon here at Rusk College, and we are appreciative of our new partners at Ole Miss for the collaboration and look forward to where this partnership is going to take us. Prospective students, there is still time to rush to Rust this fall if you are interested in this program. Classes do not start until August the 23rd, I believe, at Rust and Ole Miss, correct? Awesome. So feel free to contact our admissions and enrollment team as there's still time to register for fall classes. Again, you can contact our new VP of Enrollment Management, Dr. Jason Johnson, and he can be reached at jkjohnson Johnson@rustcollege.edu. Thank you all for tuning in virtually and for joining us in person. We look forward to seeing you all soon on both Rust and Ole Miss campuses. So with that being said, if you are still interested in hearing more from these folks on the stage, by all means, please come up. The tables are set up. There's some information for you all to take with you, and then enjoy the lovely hors d'oeuvres that are outside in the lobby. Thank you all for attending.